ਵਿੱਚ 31,67,000 ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਕੇਸ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 24 ਲੱਖ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਸਿਹਤਯਾਬ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ 7 ਲੱਖ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਕੇਸ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ 58,390 ਲੋਕ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਾਨ ਗਵਾ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਤਾਂ ਉਧਰ ਸਿਹਤ ਮੰਤਰਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਦਾਅਵਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਟੈਸਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਗਈ ਹੈ। 3 ਕਰੋੜ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਟੈਸਟ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ।
3 crore 68 lakh tests, and we have 1,524 laboratories with having done about 1 crore tests on 7th of July, 2 crore on 3rd of August and 3 crore on 17th of August. Next please. So we also have been able to set up the high throughput laboratory machines at various sites, and these have the capacity of testing more than 1,000 tests at one place. We have repurposed a couple of the high throughput labs that were already available, and we have also got some more high throughput laboratories set up at the places which were really requiring it, Patna, Kolkata, and then area cities or mega cities like Delhi and Bombay, where air traffic and other movement was tremendous, and the NCR region, where again the population is huge, and the Mumbai region, where the population is huge. Now, how we achieved this was that in the end of March and early April, much of the kits, that is 3 parts are there in the kits. One is the viral transport medium, the second is the RNA extracting, and the third is the RT-PCR kits. In the beginning of April, most of them were imported, and we gradually, our Indian industry startups performed very well. We had our central laboratories like DBT, DST, CSIR. They developed IITs, MHRD, as well as DRDO. They developed many of these kits, and we have tested those kits, and more than 700 kits have been evaluated, and 171 viral transport kits have been evaluated, out of which 139 have been approved, and 119 are indigenous. Similarly, RNA extraction kits, 62 are indigenous. RT-PCR kits, 46 are indigenous out of the 104 that have been approved. And we have now for antibody testing the ELISA kits, which are 12 have been approved and 10 of them are indigenous. And the rapid antigen kits, again, there are 11 indigenous in the rapid antibody and 1 indigenous in the rapid antigen kit. So here I want to emphasize that with the Indian industry coming forward, the startups coming forward, we have been able to deploy large number of indigenous kits, wherein they have brought down the cost of testing tremendously. In the last slide, I will show how the cost has gone down from March, when at the beginning in March, the RT-PCR extraction kit was costing about 1,150 rupees, with the VTM and the RNA extraction kit costing 320 rupees each. So if you add 1,200 plus 600 or 700, so it would be about 2,000 rupees just the kits at that point in time. And this has come crashing down over the few months, with indigenous kits being available. And once the indigenous kits are available, the international kits also reduce their costs to match them. And at this moment, the RT-PCR kit is available for 138 rupees, and the VTM as well as the RNA extraction kits are available for 90 rupees each. So the cost of the RT-PCR test is 138 plus 90, which would be about 300 rupees. So 310 rupees. So that is, I think, a huge thing that has happened in terms of the tests becoming affordable and now being available. So the purpose of our calibrating testing strategy was to gradually increase the number of tests, as when the requirement, take it to areas where it was most required, Northeast, Ladakh, Andaman Nicobar Islands, and Arunachal Pradesh, and all those areas, as well as bring down the cost so that it is available at a much lower cost for the states as well as the central government, and more recently many of the states have started procuring these kits, and gradually the states have been performing phenomenally well in procuring these kits on their own, because all these kits are now available on the government e-market.
The tele-ICU exercise was started by Ministry of Health and All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, with the intent to train the doctors manning the ICUs across the country. The intent was also to answer some of the questions that these doctors face while treating COVID patients. So with that intent in mind, it was on 8th of July that tele-ICU intervention started. Every week on Tuesday and on Friday, there are these tele-ICUs which are conducted from AIIMS New Delhi, and treating doctors of ICUs in different hospitals across the country join in this intervention. And it's an interactive session. They ask questions, their doubts are cleared. As we interact with you today, exactly at this time, one such ICU, tele-ICU is happening since it happens every Tuesday and Friday. So from 8th of July till date, 14 such tele-ICUs have been held, and they have covered 148 hospitals, COVID hospitals across the country. And for each such interaction, detailed documentation is kept and is shared with the states so that they can refer to it at a later date. Similarly, there is a document that is under preparation by AIIMS New Delhi. It is a FAQ to help the treating doctors manning various ICUs across the country. So the experience so far has been quite good.
ਇੱਥੇ ਰੁਕਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦੇ ਲਈ, ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦੇ ਉਸ ਪਾਰ। ICMR ਵੱਲੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਦੂਜਾ ਸਿਰੋ ਸਰਵੇਖਣ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਰਵੇਖਣ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਹੈ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸੂਬੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੱਧਰ ਤੇ ਸਰਵੇਖਣ ਕਰਵਾ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਪਤਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ ਕਿ ਇਨਫੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਫੈਲਣ ਦੀ ਦਰ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਬਾਬਤ ਜੁਟਾਈਆਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਣ।
गृह मंत्रालय द्वारा जारी अनलॉक की गाइडलाइंस हैं, उनमें स्कूलों या कॉलेजों को खोलने से संबंधित कोई निर्देश नहीं है। ये तथ्य स्पष्ट होना चाहिए। दूसरी जो महत्वपूर्ण बात है वो ये कि स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय विभिन्न गतिविधियों को जब जब वो खोली जाती हैं, जैसे निर्णय एक हुआ था कि आप मॉल्स को खोलेंगे या जिम्स को खोल सकते हैं या इकोनॉमी के अन्य गतिविधियों को खोल सकते हैं, तो ऐसी प्रत्येक गतिविधि के लिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय द्वारा एक SOP बनाया जाता है। तो इसी प्रकार का SOP जब भी कभी शैक्षणिक संस्थाओं को खोलने का निर्णय होता है तो वो SOP फिर प्रभाव में आएगा और उसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया जाना होगा।
22.
My question is to DG ICMR. Sir, various sero studies have come up so far, from Delhi where we are told about 28% to Pune where we are told about 51% sero prevalence. Is ICMR aware how many of these sero surveys are now following up with studying neutralizing antibodies which will actually tell us what was the prevalence of immunity? And my second question is, ICMR also did one round of sero survey at few places, and it was long back. Are those findings published in any paper yet? If not, why, and when can we expect them to be published?
Yes, I'll answer the second question first. The ICMR sero survey is is publication in process. It should appear hopefully by this week in the Indian Journal of Medical Research. It has been peer reviewed by several, it has gone to two rounds of peer review, and that has been done, and it will be published definitely by this week as we stand, because that's what the editor told me. The first question regarding various sero surveys, yes, it is this, most of the sero surveys are being conducted by the states. We have from the ICMR embarked on the second National Sero Survey, and that is also work in progress, should be completed hopefully by the first week of September, and we will have results of that available. Having said regarding antibodies, most of the sero surveys are looking at antibodies. Neutralizing antibodies, T-cell responses, etc. are not being studied in these large sero surveys. However, most of these states, wherever they're conducting sero surveys, they do send us the results and the reports, and they are being compiled as well. 3 वैक्सीन इस समय भारत में कुछ थोड़ा आगे बढ़ सकी हैं, और 3 और वैक्सीन हैं जो प्री क्लिनिकल स्टेज में हैंगी. जो 3 जो आगे बढ़ चुकी हैं उसमें सीरम इंस्टीट्यूट वाली वैक्सीन है जो फेज़ 2B और 3 की स्टेज में चली गई है, शुरू हो गई है, और जिसमें 1700 मरीज़ों को स्टडी किया जाएगा. और दूसरी भारत बायोटेक की वैक्सीन है जो फेज़ 1 की स्टडी में 375 मरीज़ को कंप्लीट कर चुकी है और सेकेंड फेज़ शुरू करेगी. और तीसरी जाइडस कैडिला की है जिसमें कोई फेज़ 1 की कंप्लीट हुई है उनकी, कोई 45 या 50 मरीज़ की, और सेकेंड फेज़ उनकी शुरू होने वाली है. तो ये पोजीशन है. और शुरू होने वाले इसमें फेजेस में आप लोग को ये समझना जरूरी है कि पहले 1 डोज वैक्सीन की मिलती है, क्योंकि ये हमेशा 2 डोज वैक्सीन है. तो पहले 1 डोज मिलेगी, उसके 14 दिन या 28 दिन बाद दूसरी डोज मिलेगी, और उसके बाद कम से कम 2 हफ्ते के बाद उनकी एंटीबॉडी रिस्पॉन्स, या 4 हफ्ते के बाद एंटीबॉडी रिस्पॉन्स देखी जाती है ब्लड में कि एंटीबॉडीज पैदा हुए या नहीं पैदा हुए.
There is a technical committee in the Ministry of Health which is headed by Director General Health Services. It's called the JMG. It consists of domain knowledge experts from different central government hospitals, from AIIMS New Delhi, from WHO India office, and even domain knowledge experts from outside the government. So that body, as I have shared with you earlier, is working on a document, a guidance document for people who recover from COVID and the possible complications that may arise and how to address those complications. To finalize that document, this technical body, the JMG, is obtaining data of the recovered patients from central government hospitals and AIIMS across the country, and those patients specifically who have come back with certain complications and have then been treated.
ਇੱਥੇ ਵੇਲਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਛੋਟੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦਾ ਹੈ. ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਦੇ ਉਸ ਪਾਰ ਵੀ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਿਲਸਿਲਾ ਜਾਰੀ ਰਹੇਗਾ. ਕੋਰੋਨਾ ਤੇ ਕਾਬੂ ਪਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ 'ਚ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਤੇ ਟ੍ਰਾਇਲ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ. ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ 3 ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਤੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਪੜਾਅ ਦਾ ਟ੍ਰਾਇਲ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਉਮੀਦ ਜਤਾਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਲਦ ਹੀ ਸਫਲਤਾ ਮਿਲੇਗੀ.
In terms of your percentage of tests and the rapid antigen tests, we have to clearly tell you that the RT-PCR tests are still growing at a rapid rate. We are setting up new labs to test RT-PCR more. Some states have found the antigen test slightly simpler and therefore have reduced the RT-PCR test by 1 to 2 or 2 to 3%, and they do not show the national rise which is being shown across the country in terms of RT-PCR tests. The antigen tests have grown and would represent anywhere across, because they vary from state to state. So if you look at the national average, there would be around 30 to 40% in terms of antigen tests, but many of them, if they are symptomatic, have to be followed by an RT-PCR test. So that adds to the number of RT-PCR tests. In terms of sensitivity, that has been discussed several times. The specificity is nearly 100% for both the tests, but sensitivity for the rapid antigen tests varies from is of moderate nature and could be anywhere between 60 to 85%. However, the RT-PCR sensitivity could be anywhere from 80 to 95%, depending on the situation and how the sample has been collected and at what time of the illness the sample has been collected. Your question regarding serosurvey is an important one, because serosurveys are important to guide us in terms of where we are at the what phase of the epidemic are we in this particular area, and what we need to do in terms of our public health response, in terms of our containment zones, enhancing them, increasing them, making micro-containment zones, further isolating those people who are showing high prevalence. So that is the purpose of the Sero survey, to guide the policymakers how to, and that has happened right from the first Sero survey to the various state Sero surveys, and that is why we have this example of how successful we have been in various mega cities. 33.
सीरो प्रेवलेंस पर मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा, ये महत्वपूर्ण बात है, तो इसको हिंदी में भी समझाना जरूरी है कि सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है। हम सीरो प्रेवलेंस सर्वे क्यों करते हैं? हम इसलिए करते हैं कि हम जानें कि इन्फेक्शन का स्प्रेड क्या है। एकेडमिक एक्सरसाइज तो अलग चीज़ है, लेकिन जो लोग ज़मीन पर लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं उनके लिए ये जानना जरूरी है कि इन्फेक्शन का स्प्रेड क्या है। मैं आपको उदाहरण से समझाता हूँ। दिल्ली में पहला राउंड सीरो प्रेवलेंस का हुआ एनसीडीसी के नेतृत्व में, और इसमें मिड जून का जो इन्फेक्शन था उसको कैप्चर करने का प्रयास किया गया। दूसरा राउंड दिल्ली सरकार ने किया और उसमें मिड जुलाई के इन्फेक्शन को कैप्चर करने का प्रयास किया गया। आप दिल्ली इस समय 11 प्रशासकीय जिलों में विभक्त है। दिल्ली इज डिवाइडेड इनटू 11 एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स, ऑल्दो वी टेक दिल्ली एज वन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव यूनिट। I will give you example of two districts and how it feeds into policy making. In southeast Delhi, in the first round of sero prevalence, the prevalence was 22.12%. 22% इन्फेक्शन का स्प्रेड पाया गया पहले राउंड में। दूसरे राउंड में साउथ ईस्ट दिल्ली का जो जिला है उसमें 33% प्रेवलेंस पाया गया। तो किसी जिले में जहां 22% प्रेवलेंस है और किसी जिले में अगर किसी अन्य तारीख में 33% है, तो उसका प्रभाव उस जिले में किस प्रकार की कंटेनमेंट की कार्रवाई की जानी है, किस प्रकार की सर्वेलेंस की कार्रवाई की जानी है, उस पर पड़ेगा। तो ये सिग्निफिकेंस है सीरो प्रेवलेंस का। एक दूसरा उदाहरण साउथ वेस्ट दिल्ली का मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ। पहले राउंड में साउथ वेस्ट दिल्ली में सीरो प्रेवलेंस वॉज 12.95%, विच इज़ रफली 13% प्रेवलेंस पाया गया साउथ वेस्ट दिल्ली में पहले राउंड के सीरो सर्वेलेंस में। दूसरे राउंड में केवल 16% पाया गया। इसका अर्थ ये है कि साउथ वेस्ट दिल्ली की जो बड़ी आबादी है वो अभी भी ससेप्टेबल है इन्फेक्शन से। इसलिए ज़रूरी है कि लोग मास्क पहनें, इसलिए ज़रूरी है कि लोग 2 गज की दूरी बनाकर रखें, इसीलिए ज़रूरी है कि लोग हैंड हाइजीन का पालन करें। जहां प्रेवलेंस ज़्यादा है उसका अर्थ ये नहीं है कि वहां भी हम अपने गार्ड को लोअर कर दें, हम अनजान बन जाएं इन्फेक्शन के प्रति। तो ये सिग्निफिकेंस सीरो प्रेवलेंस कराने का होता है ताकि आप डायनेमिकली अपनी पॉलिसी को, अपनी नीति को बदल सकें। The joint entrance examination, that is for engineering, is organized by National Testing Agency (NTA), and the NEET examination for medical seats is organized by BOG MCI. The issue of both JEE and NEET examination has been deliberated at length in various judicial forums, including the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Honorable Supreme Court of India has already decided on that issue, so we will not address that particular aspect, and it is not proper for us to raise or address that aspect again once it has been legally settled. Coming to how the examinations would be conducted, I would draw your attention to the fact that in response to an earlier question I had submitted, that Ministry of Health prepares a detailed SOP for any activity that is opened up. Similarly, for holding exams, we have prepared a SOP, and that SOP has been shared with the authorities that are responsible for conducting the exam as well as with the various state governments.
34.
So there are some reports of a reinfection in Hong Kong, and from what we hear, somebody in the health ministry has actually been infected second time. Is that correct? And what is our position on reinfection?
Yes, we have read with interest the report on reinfection of one case in Hong Kong. It can depend on several factors. One of all could be related to the patient itself. How is his immunity? What was his immune status? Was he immune compromised? It could also depend on the virus, whether the virus has mutated a little bit or the virus has become more virulent. So this, we are learning more and more about this disease as we go ahead. Having said that, this is only one case that has been reported of reinfection, and that is very rare for viral infections, because I will give you an example of measles. Now measles, if once it affects, you are supposed to get lifelong immunity. But there may be a few cases, rarely, where you may get measles the second time. Similarly, this is a stray example of a second. We do not yet know how long the immunity lasts, but for measles we know that it lasts lifelong. But for this disease, we are still trying to find out exactly how long the immunity will last, and because the disease itself is only 7-8 months old, so we cannot comment detailed on this, but it's just one case and we need to closely follow it up, but at the same time we do not to be alarmed immensely about it at the moment.
ਇਸੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ। ਪਰ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਹਰ ਵੱਡੀ ਖਬਰ ਦੇਖਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ ABP ਸਾਂਝਾ।